when you're in chronic pain, and then when you have to wear that pain because it's on my face. It was this mask that I was forced to wear. I felt like I didn't even look like myself for so long. It's really hard to deal with, like emotionally, mentally, a lot to struggle with at once.
Today we are chatting with Angelica, and we are going to be chatting about her eczema healing journey. And Angelica has a interesting story because she went from a very severe place, which she'll tell you about, trying to shower, having, I think you said it was hundreds of cuts on your body. So just burning. Everybody with eczema understands that burn. And then also having a little one too. So just having to roll out of bed. I remember you saying roll out of bed and to the couch in so much pain, trying to breastfeed. And it's a special time in life. And it was, you described it as being in a really dark place. So to be able to have had a complete turnaround and now thriving, and you've taken on so much on board, and you had a really big aha moment early on in the program, which really helped expedite the healing journey. And this is something that shows up quite a bit with people that do get the quicker results. So it is nice for people to hear about this, get a reminder, and you have some really good aha moments in your journey. So I'm excited for you to share because this will be really helpful for other people who have been in a similar place or are also struggling at the moment as well. So thank you for joining us today.
Of course. I'm super excited to share too. It's nice to it's very cathartic to share your story.
Yeah, yeah. And you have so many great analogies on the calls every week. Always loved having a chat with you because you have these profound, beautiful aha moments and then these like great analogies. I'm like, that totally makes sense. Oh. Okay, so to get started, can you share some of the challenges and where you were before starting the Love Your Skin program?
Sure, yeah. For as long as I can remember, I've had eczema since I was about 4 years old. It wasn't, I think like most of us when we have it as a kid, it's just not that big of a deal. It's just like in your arms, in the back of your legs, and you just kind of live with it and it's whatever. And then when I was 19, I moved to the north of Norway and I just broke out severely in eczema. I started oozing out of my face and I got really dry and just having really bad eczema that I've never had before. And from there, I started seeing the doctors, taking a lot of steroids. I was injected with steroids. I took oral steroids, rubbed the creams all over. I ended up going through topical steroid withdrawal after that, unfortunately. And then from there, so from 19 to 27, I just turned 28 a couple months ago, but from 19 to 27, I basically struggled with pretty severe eczema. So that's, I think, 8 years, which is a long time. Yeah, varying degrees of severity. So at certain points, it was like manageable. It was still, affect my day. I was still in pain, but I wasn't bedridden. And there were times where I was bedridden. And then most recently, this past January, so a year ago, I had my first baby, and which is wonderful and amazing and beautiful, and she's amazing. But after I had her, I had a huge, crazy flare up, probably the biggest one I've ever had, and I was bedridden. It was just absolutely debilitating. I was probably, like you mentioned, being in a dark place, and I felt like I was just alone in the dark, and there was no way out, and no one to help me because I've already, at this point, I had tried so many things to try to help my skin. I know maybe it sounds like, when you say, oh, I had it for 8 years, that's a quick sentence, but 8 years is a long time. And through that time, I was trying all these different things. I tried, homeopathy, acupuncture, all kinds of different diets from, veganism to even like carnivore diet. So those are two opposite things. But yeah, I tried everything. I tried celery juice, you know, eczema diet, GAPS diet, all kinds. It kind of seemed like I was at the end of my rope, and I tried everything, and now I just didn't really know where to go. So that was really, I think the reason why I was so dark is because there wasn't a lot of hope, I'd say, because it just felt like maybe this is my lot in life to
Mm-hmm.
be in so much pain and to just not be able to function. Because, yeah, even from washing my hands, showering, like all the things that you do in a normal day, even touching things like newspaper and opening cardboard boxes would set off my eczema because there's kind of like there's like a chemical thing to cardboard boxes and to mail, and normal people wouldn't even know. But when you have such severe eczema, it's like the whole world. It is like you're allergic to the whole world, whether, if internally with the food and then externally touching anything. So it's a really rough place, literally. Yeah.
And so, with everything that you had, what was missing, did you feel at the time?
You know what? I really didn't know. So after I had the huge flare up with my daughter, I went to an acupuncturist and it did help a little bit. It did give me
Yeah.
some relief. But it felt like, oh, here we go. I got it. It came to me. It felt like I wasn't addressing the root cause. So
Yeah.
even though I was trying all these things and I was maybe getting a little bit better, maybe 10% here, 20% there, it wasn't really like, I still felt like I was allergic. I still felt like at any moment I could go back to where I was, like something could set me off and I would be, at the starting point and I'd still have no idea what the heck is wrong with me. I think that's been one of the hardest parts of having eczema is just feeling like, what is wrong with me? Like, I have no idea. I'm trying to do all these things and I still don't understand. And yeah, just it felt like I wasn't getting to the root of the problem. Felt like something's obviously wrong and I don't know what it is. So I think that was the hard part. And it didn't seem like anyone could tell me what
Mm.
that was.
Yeah. And then just naturally after being in pain and struggling for 8 years and then trying so many things, you're just like, is this life?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Just
Yeah.
thinking, I don't know what else I can try.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's really common. People ask me a lot about acupuncture, and there's some people that get some relief, which is great.
Yeah.
Typically, like I'll see the chronic cases, and then typically it will give them some short-term relief because it does help reduce inflammation, but exactly like
Mhm.
you said, what's causing that inflammation, which is the
Yeah.
actual problem.
Yeah.
And also something that we kind of breeze past is going through topical steroid withdrawal, which is
Yeah.
really hard. And there's so many different levels of trauma because like you're
Yeah.
actually debilitated. And
Yeah.
again, going back into a dark place and like the physical pain and agony as well. And what is so hard about it is that you go through TSW, then you still have to deal with eczema after.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's the thing as well, is I thought, because I had originally when I started the TSW journey, I thought like, okay, I'm gonna go through TSW and then I'm gonna have clear skin and I won't have to worry about it because that's what I heard. And then that never happened, and I was like, well, I don't think I'm going through topical steroid withdrawal anymore, but I still have this horrible eczema. So
Yep.
what's that about? So then I was like, did I even? And then I was questioning, like, wait, was that even topical steroid withdrawal? Like, I don't understand this. I don't understand. And yeah, that was hard. And I do think I did brush past like the fact that going through this was like, I would say it was mentally, emotionally, physically, like absolutely just, I want to say assaulting in a way, which is a strong
Mhm.
word, but I did feel like it was taking over every part of me, which is just, yeah, it's funny to say, but when you're in chronic pain and then when you have to wear that pain because it's on my face, and I can't,
Yeah.
and I felt like I didn't even look like myself for so long. It's really hard to deal with, like emotionally, mentally. So yeah, definitely just a lot to struggle with at once.
Wow, that was when you said when you have to wear that pain. That's so
Mm-hmm.
impactful. That's exactly what's happening. I never thought of eczema being like that, but it is. That's exactly what it is. And then having to look at it and then, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, not being able to recognize yourself. That's
Yeah.
so hard looking in the mirror.
Yeah. And I wouldn't. I would like, when you go to the restroom, you go to wash your hands, there's always a mirror. I'd be
Yeah.
like this. Just try to get through it and go because I knew if I looked at myself, set off so much emotionally, but also I'd want to pick or scratch or it would, kind of get me going on the inside. So I just try to avoid looking at myself. And that's hard too, to know like, okay, I'm just not going to look at myself. So there's so many layers. It's funny. And that's an analogy too, because you can think about the layers of the skin. But
Yeah.
yeah, there really are. There are.
Yeah.
There's so many layers peeling back as you're going through eczema, and but it's happening emotionally, mentally. Yeah, definitely a good metaphor, I think. And then I always did feel like though it was this mask that I was forced to wear, the eczema, because I know that when I'd meet new people, that's what they would see, and that's what they think I look like, and that was hard too to think. These people think that I look like this is not what I look like, you know. but they never know because even for years, that's how they see me. It was
Yeah.
just, yeah, it was hard. It's definitely a big hit to identity, to your identity, you know? So, because your face is you in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a big part of the process too, is it's not letting go of that,
Mm.
but accepting yourself for who you are,
Yeah.
which is hard because the world that we live in is very identity based world.
Yeah. Very,
Um,
yeah,
Social
external
media,
too.
yeah, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is the ultimate test is just trying to find that love for yourself, which,
Yeah.
you know, sounds cheesy, but it's a thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So when you started the Love Your Skin program, what were some impactful moments, or we say aha moments and turning points in your healing journey?
Yeah, I think honestly there are quite a lot, but one that stands out would be we were going through the foundations of, the pillars of health, and there was one time when I kind of started to think about, how I speak to myself and kind of the emotional aspect, the brain skin connection, which I know you mentioned this with your journey too, but I didn't for a long time I didn't want to admit that there was a connection, because I felt like that would be I would have to take some accountability if which I really in a way didn't want to. I wanted to be 100% the victim of this and 100% like this is not fair, this is not me, like, and then I kind of realized, okay, I've tried everything and I haven't given this a shot to just say, like, okay, maybe there's an emotional aspect to it. Because, over the years, doctors would say, like, oh, you're stressed and that's why. But it kind of felt like a brush off. Um, so I kind of was like, okay, let me step back and see what this might have to do with what my brain might have to do with my skin and how I think might have to do with my skin. And I kind of just took an assessment and I realized that I speak really harshly to myself and I'm very negative to myself and I catastrophize and I do all these things, kind of go from 0 to 100 in a negative way. And so I decided, okay, well, let me try to turn that around a bit. Let me see if just what the positive thinking and not being so harsh on myself, being kind to myself, what kind of effect that would have on me. And on the after trying it for a few days, it was really hard at first. I was like thinking, I can't do this. This is so hard to stop myself thinking this way. I've been thinking this way so long. And I had this moment where I thought, it's really hard to have eczema. Like, it's probably a lot harder to have eczema than to try to stop thinking this way. So I'm going to choose my heart and I'm going to choose to just keep trying to be positive and kind to myself. Because I think that's a lot better. And it's just going to be so much nicer to put my effort there instead of the other way around. Instead of finding my comfort in the negativity and I also realized that I use scratching and picking as a coping mechanism for myself, that as much as I didn't want to, and maybe it didn't start out this way, but it certainly became that, where there was some sort of like coziness or like something that just like kind of comforted me, where when I'd scratch I just felt a relief, like okay, like I got some stress out. And so realizing those things and kind of starting to put that into action really helped. I don't know, it just helped me, and my skin started getting better. And then as I started to not use my skin as that coping mechanism, things just started getting better. And it might sound like this happened so quickly. It didn't. It takes months, and
Yeah.
also using those pillars that you talk about and taking off of stress other ways, like by eating really nourishing foods, because that takes stress off of your body. All these things combined, like having good relationships, just being a healthy person, really. I feel like the program taught me how to be a healthy person in a general way, to be honest. And so being a healthy person helps me my skin is like a byproduct, it just happens, and everything else, it takes off this load. And I know you talk about drops in the bucket all the time. So it's just like, emptying that bucket, and then it's a lot easier to, like, even over the holidays just happen, and I ate horribly basically the whole time.
Yeah.
And I had a tiny bit of a flare, but then I kept saying, instead of freaking out, which is what I used to do, I was just like, nah, that'll probably go away because I'm gonna eat healthy again and I'll be fine. And
Yeah.
then I didn't even really flare. Like I didn't even
Oh,
have a big thing. It was just like everything started to keep getting better. And my skin isn't 100% quite yet. I think it will be before, in the next few months. It just needs more time.
mhm.
But yeah, it's just such a relief to go from where I was to like, I'm gonna get better. Like to just, it's
Mm.
so casual. It's so like, for I would say like 95% of the time now, I don't think about my skin to the same degree, and I used to be so concerned about it, like socially and all this stuff, and now it's gonna get better. Like it's fine. So, and it has been getting progressively better week by week.
That just makes me so happy hearing that because I do remember like during the onboarding calls how hard it was, and when you had that, I do remember your realization about how you spoke to yourself in your head. I just want to congratulate you on embracing that because it is hard. Like I went years and being in denial about it. I'm like, I'm just chill. What are you talking about? And be like embracing that and then actually like you said like you can breeze by and say 8 years easy, you've been struggling, you can breeze by and say, oh, I started speaking nice to myself, but it does
Mhm.
take a lot of work because you have
Yeah.
these really critical parts of yourself which can be good and they do serve their purpose and they're not bad and we don't want to just like hide them and push them away. But when you do start inviting in parts of yourself that are a little bit more welcoming and nourishing, it does take a lot of effort, but it is
Yeah.
really great when you can see the byproduct of that. And like you said, it does take months because if you've been doing something your whole life, you're always going to go
Yeah.
back to that default. So you have to be conscious of it and create those rituals and those habits so then you can change it. And, throughout the program, you even said, oh, I'm doing that thing again. And then
Yeah.
you reel yourself back in. So and that's like, that's the journey, right? And that's, when you can embrace it and be okay with it and understand that it is continuous. And, even with your skin, for me, it took me, like, it didn't just happen overnight in 6 months or in a year. But when you can
Yeah.
just be okay with it and kind of detaching from, okay, it's going to be the end of the world if I get a flare up and saying, okay, Christmas, I'm going to indulge, but I'll be able to get my flare down. And having that
Yeah.
confidence is such a game changer.
So, yeah, and I think it is like just being confident and having hope, like knowing that I can get better because I've gotten better and I understand why I got better.
Yeah.
I think that's such a like that for me would be like the priceless gift is that knowing like I know how to make myself better and I know that I can get better. So if I start to get, if I start to get a little bit worse, that's okay. I can figure out why
Yeah.
and I can make the changes that I need to get back on track. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's been so empowering for me.
Great. And that's the end goal. For me, I'm like, that is just beautiful because that, like, you just want people to feel empowered
Mhm.
that they can control their skin, their life, because it's not just your skin, right?
Yeah,
It's your relationships, it's everything. Yeah.
100%.
So when you started the program, because you had already tried so much, what resonated with you about the program? And was there any doubts that, okay, I've already tried everything?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I started the program, I had actually started to look at like different diets, and when I was looking at the program and the kind of recommended diet, it was already going towards what I was researching. So I was like, oh, that's cool. That confirms what I was thinking and what I've been seeing and like kind of the theory of nutrition, I guess. So I thought that was great. And I'm trying to think of like all the other things. I mean, most of it I was like, that makes sense. That makes sense. None of it really was like, oh, I don't think that's true. Because I had already tried everything. I was like, oh, okay. It kind of was like all the pieces were coming together for me. Like, oh, okay, I got a little bit of that. That makes sense. Yes, like sleep, like we've talked about brain to skin connection, like all these things together make sense. I guess the only thing was I was thinking, is this really gonna make me better though? Like, everything together is this really going to make me better? And so yeah, once I started to see progress though, I thought, okay, this 100% makes sense and I'm all in. And I talked about on one of the calls like how the snowball effect, how sometimes we have this negative snowball effect where like you know things go wrong and then it just really snowballs out of control, but it could also go the opposite way, like as things go right, like you're eating really well, you're sleeping really well, you have some supplements to take care of things you're missing, and brain skin connection, and then your healing kind of snowballs. So I think I've definitely seen that where as the pieces come together, it just, I don't know, it's kind of like a big sigh of relief. Like, oh, okay, like I understand. Like my skin's getting better. I just have to ride this wave and just keep going and making sure all the pieces still like you have your rituals, your routines, and all that in place. So yeah, I think that even even with the fact that it's winter right now, which was such a painful thing for me last year, the dry winter here in Southern California, which is very dry. I'm not really feeling any effects of it. And it's the same weather, and I feel moisturized. I don't feel like the Sahara Desert,
Yeah.
because before it was like, good God, I couldn't even, this was just, yeah. I felt like the Tin Man every morning. I had to oil myself down just to move a muscle. Anyway, so,
I shouldn't let. I'm laughing at the cuteness of the analogy,
yeah,
the Angelica analogy. But I mean, if when you feel like the Tin Man that you have to oil yourself up every day, that's hard
yeah, just
because
to get
it's
out of bed. Yeah.
and if you've had dry skin and you
Hmm.
can feel like you can literally like when you move your back because like I
Hmm.
always felt it a lot on my back. It just felt like it was like tearing, and you can
Yeah.
literally, and then that gets itchy, and then you're caught in that
Yeah.
cycle. So like that feeling, being able to get rid of that feeling, feeling like a Tin
Mhm.
Man or the Sahara Desert is priceless.
I mean, because when your skin is that bad, you're like aware of your whole body all the time. It's like an
Yeah.
awareness constantly because you can feel all of it, right? You can feel all the itchy, the dry, the everything. And so to be able to not feel all of that is like so peaceful. Like it's so much peace just to be able to sit and not be thinking that you can feel your knees, your elbows, the back of your head, your eyebrows, your forehead, your neck, your like literally everything. It's amazing to just be able to be present to other things other than your body. Yeah.
And so, how has being present and not having to always be consumed by the feeling of the itch in your skin, how has that changed your day to day life?
All everything's different. Sorry. I just like honestly, it really is like I cannot even exaggerate the degree of how different everything is. Like I can take a shower and not be in pain. Like I can actually take just a 10-minute shower, get out, put one layer of lotion on, and go about my day. I'm not sitting there for 2 hours wanting to scratch myself. That sounds crazy, and 2 hours might even be a short amount of time, depending on the day. And, I'm cooking for myself. I make my own yogurt and bone broth, and I make everything from fresh now. I really always love food, so it's so nice to be able to get into cooking and to handle the ingredients and wash my hands and do all those things. Yeah, it's great. It's like such a wonderful level of normalcy. Like I can get the mail. I can open a box from Amazon. Yeah, I'm making origami flowers for my daughter's first birthday for decorations, different things like that. So it's really just absolutely wonderful to just wake up in the morning and I can just go about my day, and I don't have to stop to scratch. I don't have to think about so many things when it comes to my skin. I can just function and I can be, yeah, basically normal. I don't have to have my lotion attached to me at all times either. I can.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not going through it like water. I can buy just a bottle of lotion. I think I'm at a bottle of lotion a month now, maybe something like that. Which
What were
before
you
I
doing?
was like, oh my gosh, there was one point where I was like at a bottle of lotion every few days, or yeah,
Wow.
like every week. Which sounds like a lot, but that was the only way I could cope. I was not going to do the moisturizer withdrawal. I think that would have drove me insane. Yeah, I know certain people, Mandy did moisturizer withdrawal.
Yeah.
I could not. I don't think I could. I think that would have been hellish for me, to be honest. So, yeah.
It's not easy.
No, yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. And like that
Yeah.
just sounds like freedom in so many ways. Like we always say, people with eczema just want to feel normal, and it just sounds
Yeah.
like lame. Like, oh, you just want to be normal, but just to be able to do day-to-day things, you cannot put a
Mhm.
price tag on it, you know. When you're-
Honestly.
Yeah. always scratching and like moisturizing. I totally remember
Mhm.
just I'd have moisturizer anxiety. I literally
Yeah.
had so many different bottles of moisturizer in my bag just in case I forgot one. So I'd have like a
Mhm.
backup. And you just have so many moisturizers. And yeah, showering and it's a task because you have to
Yeah.
moisturize and you itch, and then you can't do anything after that because you're red, or then you start
Yeah.
picking, and it's a lot.
Yeah. So many things. And yes, it is 100% like I just want to be normal. That's what I would, I'd be praying like, oh God, can I just be normal? I just want to be normal. And so it is nice. It's so honestly like I think it gives you to go through this experience though, and I guess just to see a silver lining. It does give you an appreciation for life because you're like you understand how precious it is to be able to do little things like cook for yourself or take a shower or wash your hands. Like it's such a tiniest things, some of these things, but it's really
Mm,
like absolutely just amazing to be able to do those things and be okay.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
always nice when you can reflect and you know you're in a good spot when you can look at the silver lining of a situation.
Yeah.
And it's nice because when people are on the other side, there's
Yeah.
always a lot of gratitude of
Mhm.
going through the journey and being, an element. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but for me, being grateful that I had eczema because
Yeah.
you have a level of gratitude that, okay, I can do these day-to-day things. And
Yeah.
now I am focused on my health because sometimes we get caught up living a certain way and you don't realize the damage that it's doing. And while
Mhm.
eczema is completely debilitating, the mental,
Mhm.
emotional, physical, it's better than getting other conditions. So you can
Yeah.
really like focus in on, okay, I want to be eating well, doing bone broth
Mhm.
and making yogurt and doing all those great things.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I do think I 100% agree with everything you said and just like being grateful that like I guess this thing called me out of the place that I was in and it
Mm,
took me out of that into something better because I wouldn't have been aware that I needed to change those things without the eczema.
yeah.
Like I probably wouldn't have made those changes. I would have just kept going. And so it is nice to have this new lifestyle, you could say, and this new way of thinking out of this terrible situation.
Yeah, and even more, I mean, there's the foundational stuff that we talk about:
Mm.
mindset, sleep, nutrition, digestion, movement, and fun. So there's that part of it, but that mindset part and the way that you talk to yourself, having a relationship with, like a better relationship with that's free.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's made a big difference, and I didn't really to get that out of the program, and I think that was a really wonderful like surprise that kind of overhauled my life, my internal and external life. So it was really wonderful.
A lot of people don't embrace that part of it. So it's really great that you were able to do it. And it was nice also that you were able to share a lot of your aha moments. Like I said, I just loved hearing your epiphanies because it's helpful. Because when we get on the calls, everybody's going through their own journey, but it's nice when you can hear, oh, okay, she's going through that. What's going on for me? Because it's not just
Mm.
you, it's everybody. Yeah, so I think that was motivating for other people as well. And it's good to talk about it. To, okay,
Yeah,
this is come up for me. And then also, it's like, it starts a conversation, and there's so many people that were following your journey and really inspired by it. And it just, gives other people hope. So thank you for sharing that, being a part of the community.
of course. I do want to say one more thing, which
Yeah.
that helped me a lot. That I think this is like one of the biggest things is Deanna. You remember her? She probably filmed one of these. She was always like on the calls doing everything. She's great. But she said something one time where she talked about like enjoying the journey, and that really helped me a lot too. About maybe like two quarters of the way and halfway through, where I was kind of getting a little bit discouraged, and then she mentioned that, and I was like, oh, I didn't even consider that I could enjoy this. Like, I've always seen this whole thing as just torture, and
Yeah.
just the idea that I could enjoy this part and like use this, as something to make, I guess, to water the inside of myself. Like, if I was a plant, sorry, I can't help but give an analogy. But like, if I was a plant, like, I'm taking the time to really care for myself and water myself and prune and all that stuff. So I should really like try to enjoy it, as she said. And I think that's what I encourage anyone who's on this journey is that this, as much as you are being tortured physically, so to speak, Like it doesn't have to be a torturous journey, and you can enjoy. Just try to enjoy it as little as possible. At first it's gonna be just tiny bits that you can enjoy, but then it's gonna get bigger and more. So as much as you can, and then you'll enjoy normal life soon.
That's some good words of wisdom for people starting the journey because it's a lot. And if you have been living your life certain ways or having certain thoughts, it takes a lot of conscious effort to change, and
Yeah.
people are always really resistant to change things, especially sleep's like so impactful. And like when people come in the program at the beginning, it's always like, this is what we're focusing on for the first month. People are always like, but I want supplements, I want a
Mhm.
diet, I want all these things. They're like, you need to get this first because
Yeah.
you'll just easily breeze past it, and then you'll get focused on a protocol or doing this, but sleep
Yeah.
is like one of the things that has the most impact for people.
Yeah. I would say that first month is probably my biggest takeaway because I'm not
Mm.
always gonna take these supplements. At some
Yeah.
point, food is gonna be my main supplement, and maybe I'll do one or two or something. But those foundational things are things I'm always gonna do
Yeah.
now that, and if I ever fall out of the habit, I'm gonna try to put it back into place. And those are like the foundations for. They like you talk about the foundations for health, and they're my foundations for health, and they're my foundations for making sure I have good skin. Those are non-negotiable to me.
Love it. Honestly, it's music to my ears because, like, and this is the thing, and that most people go wrong, and what keep most people stuck is that
Mhm.
they just do those diets and those supplements. So I'm so glad that this is a big takeaway for you, because those are literally the foundations of being a human.
Yes.
Like that's
Yeah.
what we need to survive, and it's not rocket science. And people want something like they just want something that's like left field and something different, but it's
Like
literally
a
just how to
sequel
be
or
human.
something.
Yeah. So I'm like, you need to do this because you can do all those therapeutic diets and protocols, but this is always what you have to be able to fall back on, and this should be your default.
Yeah, and I do feel like the program taught me how to be a healthy person, like just in a general way. Like I I need my husband to do some of these things so he can be healthier too. And I'll probably teach these things to my daughter and any other kids I have. It's like this is what you need to do because this is how you take care of yourself. And yeah, and it's not even just for people with eczema to a degree. It's just like for people. And I think if you expect your skin to get better, then you're gonna have to be a healthy person because
Yeah.
obviously you to have your skin be the way it is, and not everything's adding up. Not you're not flourishing, so there's got to do some stuff to make yourself flourish. Yeah,
Because your skin is just literally a reflection of what's happening on the inside. Yeah.
which is crazy. And a
Mm.
lot of people don't realize that. And I mean, especially people without eczema. I've had so many people tell me, "Oh, that hurts," and I'm like, "Are you crazy? Like, this is so painful." And they think it's skin deep, literally. And
Yeah.
it's no. But yeah, I think anyone who's probably on this journey and tried a few things or tried everything will realize, like, okay, something more has to happen, something deeper has to happen to make a big change and to get your skin to where you can do what you want to do with your life and be normal.
Yeah. Just have that normal life.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you so much, Angelica. That was really nice. And it's also refreshing too, because the severity that you went through, that was a lot. 8 years to the point where you can't shower. And for people, I mean, if I think everybody watching this would have eczema, but like
Probably.
just having one scrape, like if you scrape your knee and then you
Mhm.
get water on it, that burns. Like that all over your body is
Yeah.
excruciating. And then there's anxiety every time you go to the shower. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And I still have it to a degree. I still procrastinate showering because of that almost PTSD. But now it's like when I get shower and I don't have it, it's kind of starting to create the opposite, like where it's like, oh,
yeah.
that was okay. Wow, that's nice. But I do, yeah, I mean, you described it perfectly. Like having one burn is horrible, so having hundreds is like you just not lit up, like the
Yeah.
4th of July or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's actually like what you said there, because there can be a lot of trauma associated with either TSW and or eczema.
Yeah.
So what you said, it's like when you go to the shower, you're still noticing that response in your body because your nervous
Mhm.
system remembers it.
Yeah.
But then the more that you do things and the more that you're consistent with it, you'll show your nervous system that it's safe. And that's not
Yeah.
the case anymore, which is perfect. So
Yeah.
for anybody that's in a situation like that, just follow Angelica's lead.
Turn around.
Yeah. Yeah. But it is nice when you can see somebody who's been in a very chronic situation and state and then doing these things like what you described at the beginning is just the pillars of health, just how to be human, and then really working on that deeper work and the brain skin connection, what's coming up for you, what parts are coming up and showing up, and just being consistent with that. And
Mhm.
then there's all the other stuff, people like to do, like, okay, the GI maps and doing the hormones and doing all of that, which is very impactful. It's this foundational part that when you can do it, especially at the beginning, you use Deanna as an example that she was inspiring for you. That was her situation too. She really took everything on at the beginning and she had such great results right away. So it's really nice to
Yeah.
see when people take this on board. And I think this is going to be really inspiring for a lot of members starting out as well. So yeah, thanks for being an inspiration.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you have any words of wisdom for people that are just starting their healing journey? Or still struggling, maybe in the dark depths still.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I would say, I feel like there's just so much, but I would just say is just take it one day at a time. It's going to be okay, and there is hope for you to get better. And just hold on to that. Because, when you're in those times where you're just in so much pain, it's really hard. And I completely understand how hopeless, how draining, how torturous it could be. So I would say, try to make yourself comfortable, get as much support around you as possible, let people around you know what you're doing, what journey you're on, and where you might need help. Whether it's with helping cook your food or helping make sure you get sleep or get your routines going. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help. And just know that there's so much hope and that healing is on the way. I would say. I think someone said that, like, I think maybe that's a phrase, healing's on the way. I don't know, but it is. And I love the phrase. I love your guys' phrase, slower is faster. I think, yeah, that's the phrase, right? Okay, just want to make sure I got it right. But it's true. Like, the more you try to speed it up and take shortcuts, don't. Like, this is definitely a lesson in life of, like, the tortoise and the hare. Like, be the tortoise. Slower is better. Just do things a little bit at a time, and you'll get there. And soon, honestly, when you're on the side of it, that pain is going to be a distant memory, which sounds crazy, but it will be. And the further you're away from it, it'll be harder to remember in a sense. Like, you'll just be busy with your new normal life. And just keep your eyes on that, though. Take it one day at a time. Remember that there's hope and healing's on the way.
Beautiful words. Thank you, Angelica. This slower is faster, that comes up on most
Yeah.
interviews, and people are so resistant to it at the beginning of the program. They're like, what do I need to be doing? I need to go quicker. It's definitely my default is like, quick, keep doing things. But the people that get the best results really embrace that. I mean, there's
Mhm.
always resistance, but it's a big takeaway for them. So for anybody watching, it's a good practice. It's hard,
Yes.
but
It's
survivable.
understandable because, like, if you're in pain, you just want to get out of it, like, now,
Yeah,
right?
there's urgency, right? You need to
Yes.
change things. Your body's literally like, okay, Mayday, I can't live like this anymore.
Yeah.
Quick, hurry, hurry. We need to change things.
Yep.
But a lot of times, those patterns of like quick, hurry, anxiety-driven thoughts are what get
Hmm.
you to that point. So,
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely have to do the paradigm shift 180.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Angelica, so much. I really appreciate your time and all your words of wisdom.
Well, thanks for having me. It was such a pleasure to be in the program and to give this little interview.
It's always nice when you're on the other side and you can be that inspiration for other people.
Yeah, no, it is really nice. I hope, like, when I started the program, I was like, "Ooh, I hope I can be one of those people that gets interviewed because that means I made it." Yeah.
And after the holidays, where you just
Yeah,
indulge in all the food. So
I
that's a great
did.
little learning lesson for your brain.
Yeah, everything went well.
Well,
All
all
right.
right.
Thanks, Alicia.